Please be seated. When you look up Henry David Thoreau online, you will find that he was an American author, poet, philosopher, polymath, abolitionist, naturalist, tax resister, development critic, surveyor, and historian. Yep, he's one of those people. However, I know Thoreau the best as a guy who one day decided to go off to the woods, settle alongside Lake Walden, and build a cabin for himself. He lived in that cabin for about 3 years, all on his own. Why he did such a thing, he explains in his book, Walden. Thoreau says, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived." It was through his extensive period of being in contact with nature that he came to know what was absolutely real and essential. Although I have not ran away from home and built a cabin and lived there for 3 years, I have come to adopt some of Thoreau's points of view in my life. I have done so by simply being aware of my surroundings. Simply being aware of nature around me has granted me clarity of mind while also made good moments in life much more unique. Quite often, I walk down to Lake Ontario and pick a spot near the shore to sit in. At first, I think about how scenic the environment is, with the geese gliding across the water and the branches of the trees swinging in the breeze. However, as I remain there longer, I begin to notice very delicate interactions between aspects of the lake. For instance, the lighting and turbulence of the water coexist in various ways to project a very specific mood. Consider a turbulent lake glistening in the bright sunlight. What you see is a lake that's quite energetic. However, take away the light and leave the turbulence, and you get an uninviting, bitter, and unforgiving lake out of a Twilight movie. The fact that the lake is able to project such drastically different moods with only 2 elements leaves me in awe every single time. As I appreciate these interactions, I start to forget about upcoming tests, imposing deadlines, or a small issue at home. These issues no longer seem as relevant in the face of something as pure and as majestic as a lake. Also, after I visit the lake, I begin to spend more time with friends and look forward to the weekend with my family. I guess the beauty of the body and water in front of me inspires me to mirror that same beauty in my own life. As I mentioned before, being aware of my surroundings has also made the good moments in my life much more meaningful. I fondly remember back in September when I participated in my first Capture the Flag game. One of the things that surprised me is how intensely focused everyone was in the game. As soon as one person on the other side stepped on the boundary that separated both teams, everyone started to yell, someone, get him! To your right, to your right! No, not to your left, to your right!" Though everyone was into the game, there was always that one person who realized too late that he or she was the person being talked to. And by the time he or she did that, the intruder had run across the field, reached the jail, and saved at least 20 team members. That was usually me, by the way. In the middle of playing the game, I looked around me and saw a full moon perched up in the dark sky. It was one of those big but pale full moons that illuminates everything beneath it. As I saw the intensity and splendor of that moon, I started to imagine the upcoming year as an exciting one, full of surprises and adventures. I was only able to get this insight by looking at the full moon above me. Simply being aware of nature around me has allowed me to clear my mind, inspire me to make my life much more beautiful, and also made the good moments much more meaningful. If these are the results for me, I encourage you, each and every one of you, to begin looking around you. Look at nature around you, the branches swinging in the air, the snow falling, or even the squirrels running around. I challenge you to find out what paying attention to aspects of nature will give you as a reward. One of my favorite parts of the book, Walden, is when Henry David Thoreau observed that the squirrels always act as if the whole world was watching them. The way they stare at you and instantly freeze in position is very similar to the behavior of, quote, a dancing girl, wasting more time in delay and circumspection than actual motion. So really, make the effort to be conscious of these things. Trust me, the results will be priceless. As I told you in the beginning of my speech, Henry David Thoreau embarked for the woods to be in contact with nature and therefore reach the absolute truth. But it is valid to ask, why is reaching such a truth, why is stripping life to its very essence so important? On this subject, Thoreau comments, if men would steadily observe realities only and not allow themselves to be deluded, life, compared to what it is now, would be like a fairy tale and the Arabian Nights entertainments. If we respected only what is inevitable and has a right to be, music and poetry would resound along the streets. When we are unhurried and wise, we perceive that only great and worthy things have any permanent and absolute existence. And petty fears and petty pleasures are but a shadow of reality. This is always exhilarating and sublime. So with the words of the great Henry Thoreau in mind, will you please rise and sing hymn 656?